Welcome to Envision Broadcasting, the station designed to encourage, equip, and empower you for growth and success presents The Momentum Shift. A show where we get inspired, we get moving, and we get results. Every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern with your host, Eric Collier. He's the mayor of motivation and mental quicksand expert, bringing you inspiring interviews and empowering stories that will help to improve lives. If you're ready to start making the impossible possible, then you've joined the right show, because the momentum shift is what you've been looking for.
We've all been there. We've all felt stuck. Kind of like we were going through the motions and we just couldn't figure things out. That's why I created the Momentum Shift television show. I'm Eric Collier, and one of the things I've found is that I've been there. I've felt the trials and tribulations of setbacks and adversity and doubting myself. But what I found was this powerful thing called momentum. It's not about understanding what you're facing, but it's about moving forward again. So the Momentum Shift television show is going to come to you with tools, techniques, experiences, stories of everyday heroes who are just finding a way to continue to move forward so that we can help you do the same. So join us, and don't just watch, don't just listen, but understand that your shift starts now. Hello and welcome to the Momentum Shift. I'm Eric Collier, also known as the Mayor of Motivation. And on the Momentum Shift, we're focusing on helping you rise up, rebuild, and redefine what's possible. And this week, our guest on the Momentum Shift is Dr. Larry Frazier. He's a leadership development and emotional intelligence facilitator. He's a military veteran, and he's traveled around the world speaking and coaching to help people understand themselves and improve their emotional intelligence and leadership ability. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Dr. Larry Frazier. Doc, thank you for joining us.
No, thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I'm glad I'm able to be here. To hear you say that you were a motivation mayor is great, because when I first met you, I was like, you were the mayor. You know, yeah. I used to say you should be the mayor here in the organization. So that's great to hear that. But it's an honor to be here. I'm glad to be here and have a conversation with you, and you're just doing great things, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, and likewise. That's what I was excited about, getting you in here. Actually getting a chance to see you do what you do, the way you facilitate a class, a leadership development class, and help people understand some of their blind spots. So I thought that was great, and I wanted to get you on the show so you can share with the audience how you help them identify some of their blind spots blind spots, and be able to create momentum shifts in their lives.
Yeah, thank you. You know, when I thought about going into a little bit more and having a conversation about leadership development, I really thought about it from this perspective. I've been in executive roles as a leader. Uh-huh. My last time in that role was about 5-6 years ago, just before the global pandemic. But even before that, when I got into my own research and really wanted to look at leadership, I thought of it from this perspective. People who are in leadership roles, they have an opportunity to make a difference in a person's life. Mm-hmm. That's very important. Yeah. I don't think everyone realizes that when you're a supervisor, you have a chance to make a difference in a person's life. That's what people oftentimes find themselves talking about, in my experience, on the weekends, when they're with their family, their friends. They're talking about the relationship they have with their manager, their supervisor. It's on their mind. They're thinking about it. Right. And so, you know, I said, hey, you know, I need to really be able to kind of put myself in a situation to be helpful for them, so that they will have an experience with a supervisor or manager, with a person that's good. I think, and that was my purpose and actually my motivation for really getting more involved in leadership and research and want to be an expert in leadership. That was my motivation.
That's cool, because I think your degree is organizational leadership.
Yeah, leadership and organizational change was my research background.
Huge piece right there, especially when you look at where we are today with the times of uncertainty and all the change that's taking place. Whether you want to or not be a part of it, it's going to be there, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, the show is Momentum Shift,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so you follow sports, you know what I'm talking about. Those moments where we just can't seem to get things right. We just got to keep pushing until something changes. And you've seen it in sports all the time.
Right.
Somebody's just getting their butt beat, and all of a sudden, one thing clicks and the game changes.
Right.
So talk to me a little bit about momentum shifting for you and how that's helped you get to where you are today.
Yeah, I think for me, is getting to this spot kind of happened in a way that, I had a saying, right, that sometimes you have a vision for how you want to create things, but one of the things that I've learned, particularly as it relates to what you're talking about, the momentum shift, is sometimes success or sometimes things come to you in a way that you don't envision it.
Yeah.
And for me, getting in this spot here, I really thought it was helpful for me to put myself in a position to be helpful to others. I always talk about that leadership is really about three things. It's about being of service to others.
Okay.
It's about helping others be all they can be, and it's about helping others understand their role. So my commitment to leadership and really kind of getting involved from that standpoint was to engage in it from that vantage point. That was my thinking, and that could help others be more involved in leadership.
I like it. I like that because I like how you put it so people don't realize that they play a huge role in people's lives as supervisors, as team leads even, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes as co-workers,
Mm-hmm.
right? Leadership. Right. So you talked, when you look at leadership as what it is and what it's not, what would you say leadership is?
That's a great question. I say leadership is a practice.
Okay.
It's kind of like what's your feelings on getting on an airplane and the pilot saying, "Hey, I've never flown before." You know what I'm saying? It's like
right.
if he made that announcement, "Hey, I hope this goes." I've never flown. If you know what I'm saying. And so leadership is a practice.
Yeah.
I always say that in humor, but it really, really is. And I think one of the things that really happens, like people, they leave managers. Yeah. They leave supervisors. They don't necessarily, that's a saying, right? Uh-huh. They don't necessarily leave the organization or the agency, right, but they want to leave that manager, supervisor. And to me, that manager or leader oftentimes doesn't have the practice of leadership. They haven't invested in it. They haven't trained themselves in it. Yeah. And so and that can be very, very hurtful. Yeah. To be with someone who may be your manager or supervisor or your team leader, right, or project lead, who doesn't have that practice, who doesn't have that experience. That it's been my experience. It's been in some of those relationships. They could be some painful relationships. Yeah. So yes, that kind of inspired me to be a little bit more into it. But that's how I would define it. It's a practice.
Yeah, I like how you use that airplane analogy. So yeah, thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive a little bit more into leadership development and how to empower your team to move forward. So Dr. Frazier, so we talked about leadership, right? And so I think one of the big keys of leadership development when it comes to, let me take it back. I think one of the keys to creating a momentum shift in our life is being able to lead ourselves. Talk to me a little bit about how you help people assess themselves and where they are with their leadership and why they're what might be holding them back.
Well, like one of the things we've talked a little bit about is emotional intelligence. Mm-hmm. And when you look at Goldman's research, as well as some of the other scholars out there that have looked at emotional intelligence, one of the things that you'll find that I find is helpful when you look at it is, I think it starts with self-awareness. Okay. Which is the first dimension of emotional intelligence. And from Daniel Goleman's standpoint, and one of the things I like to say about it is, it's the foundation of emotional intelligence. And I think that's very, very important. I also like to always say that self-awareness is a choice point. All right. Like everyone has to make a choice to become more self-aware. It doesn't just happen. You have to be intentional about it and make an intentional decision to be more self-aware. And I think that's very, very important. So I always like to start with leaders with self-awareness. There are a lot of assessments, there are a lot of ways out there that leaders, those who are serving leadership roles, can improve their self-awareness. But to me, it starts there with self-awareness. And I think that's very, very important. And Daniel Goleman points that out also in his work. But it starts with self-awareness.
I think that's what I think is important, leadership, right? That leadership trait of the vision. Right? You can't lead anybody you can't lead anybody anywhere if you don't know where you want to go.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a big piece. If we don't take a look at ourselves to see what's holding us back, part of it could be is that we don't know where we want to go. Yeah. And I think for me, when I look at the day that I was basically brought to my attention that I wasn't dreaming, that's why I wasn't going anywhere. Yeah. I didn't have a dream. I didn't have a vision of anything for my relationship, you know. Yeah, I'm a father of 3, husband. I had no vision. I was just basically getting up every day and going to work and getting in that daily grind.
Yeah. So self-awareness plays a big part of that. You're exactly correct.
Yeah.
And if we're looking at emotional intelligence and looking at the dimensions of it, then we might take a look at a peek over at the second dimension, what Goleman says, and that's self-management, like how we manage ourselves and the things we do intentionally, just like you just hinted towards, those things we have to kind of take care of to be on the journey, to create a vision. Yeah. But the ability to take action on our own part, to have that initiative and how we show up, to be able to manage our behavior is very, very important. He talks about that importance in self-management.
Yeah. That's big. I like that, self-management. So now we're talking about maintaining our calendar. We're talking about keeping our space, maintaining our, let's say, having boundaries, right? Because everybody's going to come at you when you got big plans, you got things to do, and they're going to hold you up, distract you from those things. Yeah. I think one of my favorite scriptures is Nehemiah 6:3, when it says, he said, I can't come down now. I'm on a great project. And we're all on a great project if we pay close attention to why we're here on earth.
Absolutely. And how we show up. And that's a big part about self-management. One of the best compliments my staff has ever given me is, hey, we got a pretty good idea of how you're going to show up. So you're exactly right. Self-management is about how we show up in an intentional way, how we take care of the things that we can control, how we control our own controllables, right? That's very, very important. So I like what you said. You're exactly correct.
And I like where you're going with that too, because how I show up can determine what our culture is, right?
Absolutely. And influence it.
I got you, yeah.
Right. So a lot of demands that are placed on us in leadership roles. So how we show up is very, very important. In an intentional way, right? Yeah. Being the best version of ourselves. Right. How we show up. Absolutely. Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about, I read the book, What Got You Here Won't Get You There. I want to say, oh man, I'm going to forget his name and I apologize. But he talks about 20 reasons why successful leaders don't move to the next level. And he talks about the desire to win at all costs, getting the last word.
Yes. And I know exactly who you're speaking to, does an excellent job of speaking to that. But he points out that sometimes when we come into leadership roles, we have great task skills. Like we have great task skills. We have the skills to get a job done. The skills to get something done, to get the work done. Right. But what we don't have yet is what Daniel Goleman calls those relationship management skills. Right. As we get promoted and as we advance, what becomes important is our ability to work well with others. Yeah. Like how well we work with others is very, very important. And so he makes reference to that, Goldsmith, he makes reference to that what got you here won't get you there. Yeah. Because we may have gotten that promotion because we know how to get work done. Right. But then to really advance and to really, really be able to be well in leading a team, we have to work well with others. Yeah. And that's very, very important, those people skills, right? Yeah. That's very, very important. And sometimes we get promoted just because we are a technical expert.
Right, yeah.
But we don't have the
Great
people
task.
skills. Right.
That's what I was going to ask you. How would you rate your people skills?
Early on, I was more. I didn't rate them as high as I do today, so I can relate to that. But one of the things that I've learned is, and this is very, very important, when we talk about those emotional intelligence competencies, self-awareness, self-management, and social awareness, which is where empathy is. One of the things I've learned is, if I can't do those three things well, I'm not going to be able to do relationship management skills well. So I'm not going to have those people skills. So one of the things that's very, very important that helped me with my own people skills was improving my self-awareness. Right. And improving my own self-management skills. That's really what helps you with personal relationship skills. Improving in those areas, particularly self-awareness. Yes, that's a great question.
I like that. So let me ask you this. So you've gotten a chance to travel around the world and speak and coach and mentor. Talk to me a little bit about, is there anything different in leadership when you go to different areas, such as what was it, Tokyo, Europe, all these other locations? Is there something that they do different than in the United States that you had to adjust to?
Yeah, like for example, thank you for that. While stationed in the Navy, I did live in Japan. My youngest daughter was born in Japan. Teaches up at West Point. I'll give her a shout out. I always give her a shout out. But
they're a little upset at West Point right now with the Navy.
Right. But she was born in Japan. But one of the things that I have learned is that, people's relationship skills are a little different on an international level. For example, when I first went to Japan, I remember being in Japan, and I was wondering why won't anybody look at me? I was going around trying to look at, why would they look at? And people like, well, over here that people don't necessarily have that kind of eye-to-eye contact as much. So those interpersonal relationship skills are not as valued as much as they are here. And that's one of the things that I learned. And on an international scale, that can make a difference when you come into an organization as a leader, where you're just focused on, and there are lots of research and there's some stories, where you're just focused on just getting the job done, you're very task oriented. And maybe, for example, you're from Japan or you're from on an international scale, you might be so focused on the task that you might forget to, say hello to someone or be involved with them in person. So you'll see that. And I think the Far East, not to pick on the Far East, but one thing about the Far East is that I have found in a lot of assessments and engagements, they can be very task-oriented, just focused on the task itself.
And it can lead to burnout in some cases, right? You burn your people out and they're out. So I want to touch on a couple of things as we get ready to close this out. One, you created a great relationship with Georgetown through your organization. Talk to me a little bit about that and where that's going.
Yeah, so the Frazier Group and Partners, and I was involved in Georgetown. They have a coaching and mentoring program, so I'm involved in that. But also ethics and leadership development program. And so I've been involved in that. But my real investment over at Georgetown has been really just in their coaching and mentoring program within itself. And so we spent some time in that and helping them develop that program, their mentoring and coaching program. So the Frazier Group and Partners are trying to be more involved in that. I am a executive coach in the program itself. And so that's really worked out well for me.
Nice. I love it. So you've worked with military side of the house. You've worked in the commercial side of the house. What do you have coming up right now? Coming into 2026.
Thank you for the question. Well, what I'm excited about, and I also do adjunct. I've done adjunct at GW, but one of the things I'm excited about is some work that I'm looking to do with Morehouse College and some mentoring around that program. I'm really excited about that, doing some adjunct work, but also mentoring. What I found that my mission is, there's a perfect alignment between my mission and what we're trying to do with the Frazier Group and Partners and what they're trying to do with Morehouse and the Morehouse Man. And I'm excited about some work that I have coming in 2026.
I like it. I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So how can the audience get to catch up with you?
So I'm on the social media platforms. I do like Instagram. I do like also one of my favorites is LinkedIn.
Okay.
I like connecting on LinkedIn. I think it's a nice space to be connected in. And obviously from LinkedIn we could go to my Gmail or things like that.
Okay.
But I'm also on the socials. Thank you.
Okay. Cool deal. Well, thank you. I thank you for joining us, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate everything. Taking time and finally getting you on the show to join us, because I think you're doing some great things, and I want you to continue to do that. And hopefully we can get you back here to get an update on your progress with Morehouse and other organizations you work with.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely.
Right.
Thank you.
Cool.
I appreciate it. Appreciate everything you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's it for the momentum shift. Leadership. Self-leadership is the key when you want to start moving your teams. Those high-performing teams are stuck. We want to take a look at ourselves and how we lead, how we walk into the room every time. So Dr. Frazier has joined us and provided some great nuggets. Thank you. You truly are a momentum shifter. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to now sit down and take an assessment of your leadership skills. Self-leadership is key. How are you leading? How are you showing up every day? Because today, we don't want you to just watch. We don't want you to just listen. We want you to take steps into your next shift. Until next week, I'm Collier, also known as the Mayor of Motivation. Take care. Next week, we're bringing a great guest for our show. She's the leadership guru, Dr. Cynthia Pace. Have you ever been in a meeting where you just wonder, why are we here and what are we doing? Well, Dr. Cynthia Pace is going to touch on that, and she's going to share with you some nuggets to help you make your meetings more effective. Till next week, take care. Coming in January 2026 to the Leading Edge Network, the Momentum Shift television show with Collier. We've all been there. We all felt stuck. Kind of like we're doing everything we can possibly do, but we just can't move forward. I've been there, faced adversity, setbacks, and doubted myself. But what I learned was there's this powerful thing called momentum. And momentum is not about being perfect. It's about moving forward. So the Momentum Shift television show is going to come to you with tools, techniques, experiences, stories of everyday heroes who are just finding a way to continue to move forward so that we can help you do the same. So join us in January 2026 on the Leading Edge Network, the Momentum Shift with Collier. And don't just watch, don't just listen, but understand that your shift starts now.
Thank you for joining The Momentum Shift, a show bringing you interviews and stories of incredible people to help you get inspired, get moving, and get results to ultimately create the life-changing momentum shift that will improve your life. Join host Collier, the Mayor of Motivation and Mental Quicksand expert, every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern for The Momentum Shift, the show and change you've been looking for.